Good evening, everybody. Republicans tonight are on the verge of enacting the biggest overhaul of our tax system in more than 3 decades. The House this afternoon passed the sweeping $1.5 trillion legislation, and tonight we're awaiting the Senate's vote on the measure. We'll have special coverage on this critical vote with an A-list lineup of guests tonight. Chairman of the powerful Ways and Means Committee, Kevin Brady, Freedom Caucus Chairman, Congressman Mark Meadows, Congressman Andy Biggs, all joining us here tonight. In addition, Republicans are ramping up efforts to purge the deep state. There are growing calls tonight for FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe to be fired over his conflicts of interest. McCabe today interviewed by lawmakers behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. We'll take up the political corruption at the Department of Justice with George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley. And federal officials say an Amtrak train traveling 80 miles an hour per hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone derailed in Washington state. That seems to be the principal cause that investigators are now looking into. The engineer may as well have been distracted by the presence of an employee in training next to him. We'll have the latest on the deadly derailment. Our top story tonight, Republicans moving closer to delivering tax cuts to President Trump before Christmas. The House this afternoon approved the most sweeping tax rewrite in decades along party lines. But that legislation hitting a glitch in the Senate, which means the House will have to vote on the legislation again tomorrow. Fox News senior producer for Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, live now on Capitol Hill with the latest. Good evening, Chad. Let me ask, first of all, what is this so-called glitch in the Senate that they had to deal with, causing the House to have to revote?
It's not a glitch in the most conventional sense, but what happens is that the House and the Senate have to be in alignment. They have to approve the same bill. The Senate lives under a special set of budgetary circumstances that the House does not. They've been considering this tax bill under a special process called budget reconciliation. The reason they're doing it under these special budget rules is to avoid a filibuster. Otherwise, this would be filibustered. You need 60 votes to break a filibuster.
You lost me at hello tonight. If it's not a glitch, what is it?
The short answer is the bills aren't in sync. They have to toss out certain provisions.
They don't say the same thing.
They won't by the end of tonight. That's right. The Senate will have approved a bill that doesn't align with the House. And in order to get something to the president's desk, the House and the Senate have to sync up. And so the Senate will approve a different bill, slightly different from what the House okayed earlier today, and then they will send it back across Capitol Hill, and they will approve that. That will be a fait accompli. I asked Vice President Pence earlier if this was a problem, and he said, no, we're good where we are. This isn't a problem.
And not a problem. What does that mean for the Senate's passage of the legislation tonight, necessary to get into alignment tomorrow with the House and their revote?
This isn't going to cost them any votes. There are going to be a maximum of 99 senators voting. They're going to have at least 50 yeas. We're still waiting to hear from Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who is the one senator who's on the fence here. He was a yes when they voted on the bill in late November, but we still haven't heard from him. And just before I came on the air, Lou, we got a little more information about the timing tonight. We expect speakers to be on the floor to about 10:55, 11 o'clock. That's how many speakers have booked floor time. They will then have a procedural vote on this glitch, as you put it, trying to sync up with the House and the Senate. It'll get tossed. That's why it has to go back. And then a final vote will start probably around 11:30 with a final result around midnight. And Vice President Pence will be here. He's expected to preside. He is not expected to have to break a tie because they're going to have that odd number of senators voting.
One show host's glitch is a Senate parliamentarian's insistence on due process of parliamentary order. And we appreciate it, Chad. Thanks for bringing it up. So we're looking at after 10 for this vote by the Senate.
Looking at about 11:30, close to midnight. Yeah.
Well, then let's all get ready, because here we go. Chad,
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Anytime.
Chad Pergram. My first guest tonight says today's vote puts Americans one step closer to more jobs, bigger paychecks, and fairer taxes. I'm joined now by the top tax writer in the House, and he is Congressman Kevin Brady, the powerful chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. And I get to say congratulations to you all over again. We're going to get one more in, it looks like, before it's done, because of what I shamelessly called a glitch in the Senate with a revote in the House tomorrow.
Yeah, Lou, one, thank you. And look, if there's anything better than voting for tax cuts once, it's doing it twice. And so, you know, this is not a problem. I think the Senate's going to deliver on its promise tonight. We certainly will do this tomorrow and headed to the president's desk. But this is, as you said, by any measure for the past 3 decades, a major change in this horrible tax code. So we're pleased.
And this is, as you know, Mr. Chairman, I mean, this is a big deal for a lot of reasons, but not least of which, in addition to the money that'll be moving to the middle class by the most favored outlook and analysis, 23% of the cuts are going to the middle class. That's important because the president talked about middle class tax cuts here. Alignment with small business and corporate America. I don't see how anyone at this juncture, at least, could possibly say anything other than about this economy. It's going to continue its historic ascent.
It really is. Look, this is all about getting the economy going. Look, it has picked up significantly since President Trump became president, but we think it can do better. And every economist tells us, look, it's going to be that old slow growth of the last 10 years unless we change. That's what this tax reform is all about. President Trump ought to feel terrific. You know, he pledged, I'm going to deliver tax reform this year. He's getting it for the middle class, for small businesses, and you know, you're going to see American jobs coming back home. So I credit President Trump, leadership, working with us in the House and Senate. That's why we're here today.
Yeah, and you know, it's a fairly simple algorithm to examine. Your insistence, that of the House leadership, on tax cuts and focus on it, as the president asked, as the American people asked, because he ran specifically as president on that issue. The algorithm, you know, what is different about this and any other year in which the Republicans have been in charge? Donald J. Trump. And we've seen this economy move from the Obama new normal of less than 2% to now 2 consecutive quarters of 3% or higher. And the fourth quarter, the most recent reading, has us right at 4% economic growth. That has got to take even the most skeptical and nasty and venomous of the left who attack him kind of back on their heels.
You would think, Lou, but I'm sure that won't stop them. Well, but I'll tell you what, today was about one simple question. Who decides? Who decides who spends that money you work so hard to earn? We chose you to do that rather than Washington. I think that's why the left is fighting so furiously and so feverishly against this. Look, if you get to decide how to spend your money, they can't. Everything changes in Washington when that happens.
Absolutely, and you are a big reason that it changed. I want to just congratulate you, see where we are. When do you expect that revote tomorrow to take place?
Yeah,
and to be ready to move this legislation to the president's desk?
I would think shortly after lunch, the last vote will be held on this, and we'll go to the president's desk. And again, a big promise delivered to the American people on time. That's what he asked for. That's what we fought to do. And so, yeah, this is good for Americans.
It's good for America. It is also good for America to see the Republican Party controlling both houses of Congress and the White House do what you've said you're going to do. And there were at points in 2017, as we both know, it looked like it was going to be impossible for Republicans to get together on the basic fundamental building blocks of this agenda.
Yeah, no, it did, and there was reason to be skeptical. But look, tax reform is why I think all of us came to Congress. I mean, that's why we ran in the first place. We know this issue. We care about. We're passionate about getting those jobs going, get those jobs back to America. And we have a president who's right in sync with all of it. So I'm really proud of our House Republicans, including my Ways and Means Committee members, who delivered this tax reform plan.
All right. Well, Chairman Brady, we appreciate you being with us. And again, I'm going to say it again. I'm not getting tired of saying this. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lou.
Good to have you with us. We're coming right back. There is much more to the to the day's political developments as well. And we're going to take each and every one of them on here tonight. Stay with us. President Trump on the verge of a major legislative victory after the historic tax reform bill passes the House.
New Year's Day, America will have a new tax code for a new era of American prosperity.
We have special coverage of the largest tax overhaul since 1986. New reports that Special Counsel Robert Mueller's witch hunt could stretch into 2018. And how long will the Special Counsel Robert Mueller's witch hunt go on? Constitutional expert Jonathan Turley joins us with his assessment. He's here next. Stay with us.